So welcome back everyone. Today's video is paid for and sponsored by DEWALT FLEXVOLT. Now before you click off this video and say I'm not interested in an infomercial, this is certainly not that. When DEWALT came to me and asked me if they could put some of their new FLEXVOLT tools in my hands to check them out, I jumped on the chance. Who wouldn't? I have a long history with DEWALT, working in the construction trades all my life, my dad being a GC. Half of the tools that I have in the shop are DEWALT. They took the approach, I guess, how would the Latins say it? Res ipsor locutus, or something to that effect, meaning translating the thing speaks for itself. They said, we'll put them in your hands, and we believe that our tools will speak for themselves. Let's take a look at my tools that I chose. The DEWALT FLEXVOLT table saw, the big and fabulous 12-inch compound miter saw, the brushless reciprocating saw, the FLEXVOLT circular saw, and my most favorite, the portable power station. I've really been looking forward to doing this video series. I want to give you a little background. I said earlier that I have been a huge DEWALT fan. Back in the day, I used to own a wrecking yard, and I had guys working for me, and we would disassemble, cut up vehicles. And the one that held up the best, and this is one of them that I still have back in the day, was the DEWALT. I still have it. It's just a wonderful tool. I got to pulling out some of my old DEWALT stuff and looking around, and I realized that everything that I've ever purchased from them, I still have. I still have and I still use. This right here was the first DEWALT tool that I ever purchased, and it was a corded drill. In my shop today, I used it just last week. I even have, I think this was the first cordless, I mean this is going way back here, the first cordless 18-volt tool here that I still have today, still used. Used this again last week. I thought that was kind of interesting. What makes me so excited about these new tools and why I chose to do this is, you know, in the past, the cordless tools have not been up to snuff with the corded tools. I mean, they just have, the build wasn't there, the power wasn't there, the run times on the battery just wasn't there. It was, you know, working in the trades, it was not considered, with the exception of a cordless drill, not considered to be really a contractor tool. Yes, convenience, kind of nice, but couldn't live up to the standard. That's not the case anymore. With the technology and batteries, with the quality of the build, and just everything that I see here with these tools is so impressive. And it's a game changer. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot stand dealing with extension cords. We have a large property here. I might be working down in the lower pasture at the pump house. I might be working on one of the barns. And what I've had to do, if I wanted to use my compound miter saw or table saw or tools, I was limited to, I had to take a generator with me. Huge barrier. And oftentimes I just, you know, didn't do the job or just because it was just a drag. I just couldn't stand it. The idea of being able to take a tool like this reciprocating saw, for example, that has the same capabilities and maybe even more than the traditional corded saw, to me, is a total game changer. What I'm finding is this tool in particular, I'm using it all the time in places that I never would use it. I can take this out in the forest with a couple batteries. I can do work on cutting branches. I can do things that just I wouldn't even have considered in the past because of the limited by the cord. So that to me, one concept is really wonderful. And the other thing about it is that my experience has been in the past with some of the cordless tools is the build quality just wasn't there. The attention to detail wasn't there. Back in the day, it would have been unthinkable for whoever it was that was designing a tool, whether it be a hand plane or a screwdriver. We've talked about this in past videos. Even the importance, there was attention paid to the shape of the handle, so it worked with the carpenter's body, and it was a tool designed by people that actually use the tools. That has not always been the case with modern tools. And the more that I use these and the more that I'm around them, I really see that attention to detail. What DEWALT is doing is it's reaching out and it's dealing with and working with men and women that are working in the trades. And it's receiving the feedback and it's incorporating that feedback into the tools. Simple, just a couple examples here. On the circular saw, I love this tool because I can grab it and I'm not tethered to a cord. And I'm not making any compromises because I have so much power with the 20-volt battery that I'm able to cut and to do anything I want. But little things like incorporating the wrench for changing or tightening the blade into the tool. I mean, how many of us have grabbed a circular saw, needed to change a blade, looking for a tool, end up grabbing a crescent wrench, rounding off the nut, you know, all of those things, just all of these little details. For example, the trigger safety that can be used ambidextrously. You can use it if you're a lefty or if you're a right, and on and on. I mean, I could do a whole video on these things alone. Just the robustness and build quality of the reciprocating saw and the keyless chuck and incorporated LED lights. And I really appreciate having tools that have lights on them as I get older and my eyesight is not as good as what it used to be. When I'm underneath the sink and I'm really struggling, to have a tool that is helping me rather than fighting me by giving me a little bit of assistance by having a light, those little things to me, those little details are important. Here's another example. This is a small thing and it may be something that people, you wouldn't even consider, but there's actually been thought and design put into the case that comes with the reciprocating blades. That to make, you know, the work and the job and going out and putting in 40, 60 hours a week is hard enough without having tools that don't work well with you. This to me was impressive. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but to have a one-hand opening case that is telescoping, so I can lock that down and I can get to my blades, the short ones or the long ones. You know, that says a lot about the company to me, that they have even put in thought into designing a container for the reciprocating blades that make your job a little bit easier. I mentioned earlier that this portable power station was my favorite favorite of all the things that I have. I got a whole bunch of stuff because, you know, I always take the philosophy is we have not because we ask not. And DeWalt basically said the toolbox was open, and so I went to a local retailer that carried the FlexVolt line. I looked at everything, I handled it, I went back and I ordered exactly what I wanted. They did not have this, but I saw this on the website. I thought when I'd ordered this, that this was simply nothing more than a large 4-bank battery charger. I thought, oh, that would be handy. I'd be able to charge 4 batteries at a time. Always like that. But when I got it, I was very delighted that it's much more than that. This has a built-in inverter, and if you turn this on, you've got a, what is it? I think it's a 15 amp outlet that you can power anything you want to. I was staggered when I got that. I thought, how convenient is that? Because what that essentially does is, let's say I'm working in a remote location where there's not job site power and I don't have only cordless tools. Maybe I have a reciprocating saw like this that runs on traditional power. This essentially has turned my corded power tools, there you go. Any corded tool that I have now is portable because of this power station. I mean, that was such a nice surprise. When I first looked at it, I thought, good grief, that's a awfully big battery charger. You know, it's a little bit maybe overkill. Then I realized that it's got a power inverter in there. So if you're not following, not only is it a battery charger, but it also is using the power, turn that off, of your batteries into a power inverter. I mean, the applications for this are endless. In DeWalt, if you're listening, if you're watching this, you know what I would really like to see that would make this would be a very welcome member to so many people outside of construction. What I'd like to see is put a couple USB outlets on here so we can charge our phones. Also, give us an optional 75 or 100 watt solar panel. Something that's built to your quality, you know, this heavy armored stuff that we could put out there, we could plug directly in here, and we could use this in all sorts of applications, whether we're working off grid or let's say the power goes out like it did here the first year, the winter we moved here and was out for 9 days. To have something like this to be able to charge cell phones and vital components, man, it's the coolest thing. And not only is this cool, but I really appreciate, look at that, there's a fuel gauge on the batteries. Because I have, you know, multiple batteries, and when I want to do a job, I'm grabbing them, and are they charged? Are they not charged? I can tell them now, you know, so that is very helpful to me because it's really aggravating to be up on a scaffolding or a ladder and get up there and the battery you grabbed wasn't charged. And not only that, but the new batteries are backwards compatible to the old tool. So if you have the standard, the currently being sold, the non-FlexVolt cordless tools, you can use these batteries. They're backwards compatible. I am very excited about this one. This was the first piece that I ordered. The brushless compact table saw. Man, I have a big table saw, shop mounted table saw, and it's not going anywhere. I mean, it's 240, it's out in the shop. I end up making do with other things because I just don't want to have to go out and carry my material to that table saw. Yes, it has its place, but it's really not handy on a job site, and it's certainly not going to be moved. It takes 2 men and a boy to move the thing. This gives me ability to do work, to take the saw to the work that I'm thrilled about. And this is the only tool that I haven't used yet. So there's lots of videos out there going to have all the technical specs. I'm not that guy. I want to know if it's going to cut a piece of 8-quarter hickory. I'm going to take off the dust collector because I don't have a vac system. But one thing that I really thank you, DeWalt, for not incorporating all of these things in a way that the end user can't make the decision whether he or she wants to use them or not. Of course, you know, on a job site, you know, of course, these things it might be mandatory, but you know, those of us who are working in our own shops, you know, we can make that determination whether we want to use that guard or not. But I appreciate that not making it impossible for someone to make a decision themselves. Need I say any more? 8-quarter hickory with a cordless table saw. Go try that on your table saw. Now for the flagship of the FlexVolt line, the big compound miter saw. It is nice. This is a 12-inch saw. This slider option, if you haven't seen this before, it's been around for a while. This is the DeWalt, the corded version of this is pretty much the standard for contractors, or it is in this area. And what you're getting here is you're getting a saw that is not a lower quality version of the corded one, but the exact same thing. The same quality through and through, from the stainless steel guides to the ability to go from 50 to 60 inches and the detents for crown molding, all of those things. But you just have the option now of being free from the cord with the same power. Thing I really like is with the FlexVolt system is that these batteries are very intelligent. They're smart. They understand, they recognize what tool you're using. So I can snap this into the reciprocating saw. It's going to take advantage of the 20 volt. Or I can take 2 of these, stack them together into the larger tools, and now I'm using the maximum of the 60 volts. So you get tons of power. In the past, you know, you've been limited by the battery capability. But not only that, so let's say that you don't want to run on the batteries. In the back here is a plug. You can use an optional power pack. So you can just plug it in like a traditional corded saw. So it doesn't leave you high and dry if you do have a battery issue or you forget to charge. I mean, that's really nice because this is a key tool for carpenters. I mean, this is the #1 thing. If you're a professional contractor, I don't know how you could possibly get by without a tool like this. What makes this one different, and this is the first time I've ever had a slider, is that ability to cut really big material. So in the past, what I've had to do with my other miter saws is cut a portion and then flip the board over with, well, less than satisfactory results. But here we have a stair tread that's 11.5 inches deep that I can cut here with a 12-inch blade, check this out, on one pass. That to me is worth a lot. I mean, as far as accuracy and ease, and just full of great features. This is the first compound miter saw that I've used from DeWalt, but I want to show you one of the features that I really like. Attention to detail. I mean, attention to detail, I can't stress that enough. That's the thing that impresses me the most. So let's say I have my mark here, right? And it's always been kind of an up and down and trying to line everything up here. Well, there's an integrated light. And the light, if you look right there, it comes down. See the shadow? There's a shadow. That shadow is exactly on the curve for the cut. So not only do I get a light that helps me to see my mark, but I can line right here, I can slide right to it and get a perfect cut every time. That means a great deal to me. It may not sound like a big deal, but when you're cutting day after day after day, hundreds and hundreds of times a day, little things like that makes your job easier. And again, I'm not going to go into every technical detail on that. That information's out there. There's plenty of guys that have done videos on it. I'm going to show the things that I like and that are important to me. And to me, it carries over to the base. This means a lot to me. I have had dreaded moving big miter saws around, trying to carry them, and it's hard on your back, and you're bumping into doors and scratching things up and running the risk of breaking it and damaging the tool. This this mount system is so appreciated. So not only is it a way to move it around and to store it out of the way, but of course you have these extenders on here that will help you, cutting long material. But check this out. I'm as an EMT volunteer firefighter, I work with ambulances a lot, and this is the exact same thing as the gurney we have in the ambulances. But check this out. So to get this ready to move, I simply push this red lever here and push the tool down here, and I can lift it up like a hand truck. And not only that, I can store it in this vertical position here. So if I have a small shop right here, I don't have room to have all of these tools and their stands and all of that, but I'd like to have them in here. I can simply pull that lever, kind of compact everything into this hand truck, and park it against the wall. That, to me, it means a lot. And not only that, but I can simply move it around. So when I want to take this to another location, I can wheel it around nice and easy, and I'm not breaking my back. I'm not carrying multiple things like I did before. But that right there is worth a lot to me. I like that. Same thing for the table saw. When I want to get this out of my way, if you have a small shop like I do, I can simply move it easily. Or if I'm a contractor, I can store it in my trailer or the back of my truck. But I simply put it down here, fold my legs up like this. Now I have essentially the whole thing on a really nice, kind of like a hand truck. That makes life easier. That saves a person's body and back. And here I have in my little shop right here, I've got 2 contractor grade tools that I can park against the wall right here, completely out of the way, that I could easily use. And it's not going to be a big deal. If I need to take it into the house and do some trim work or do some carpentry work, or I need to load up and go help a neighbor or whatever, it's not a big ordeal. It makes my job easier. Getting rid of the power cord with the FlexVolt system makes my life easier. Having well-designed tools that work with contractors that speak to the things that we need make life easier. Our jobs are hard enough. It's hard to get up in the morning and to put in 50 hours a week. And the last thing that I want is to have to fight my tools in addition to the hard work. So I really appreciate all of the hard work, the design, the quality, everything of these tools. I really do. I have not ran into any issues. Everything I've used pretty extensively except for the table saw, and we just saw that it indeed has plenty of power. Even little, another thing, you can rip a 48-inch piece of plywood on that thing. That little tiny cordless saw. That's great, and that's what's really important. So thanks to DeWalt. I had so much fun going through the website and picking everything out. They've been delightful to work with. I never felt pressured. I never felt like I had to say something, not that I would. If they thought that, they were picking the wrong guy. But hope to do stuff with them in the future. Love to really appreciate the support of the channel, and well done. Well done. Very, very impressed and excited to use these things. So in the comments, what do you think we should do? What type of a project should we do with the new FlexVolt tools? Should we build something for Mrs. W, or give me your ideas. What do you think would be a fun project? And we can pick one of those and certainly make it happen. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video. If you'd like to check out the entire FlexVolt line of quality cordless tools, I've included the link in the subject heading. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.